A stat that should stop you cold. Last year at Sonoma, Shane van Gisbergen led 97 of 110 laps. 97. That's the most laps any driver has ever led in a single Cup Series race at this track in the history of the event. He was so dominant that he deliberately skipped going for a stage win to save his tires, and still won the stage anyway. He then won the race by a comfortable margin and drove to victory lane like it was a Sunday morning cruise. It was one of the most dominant single-race performances of the entire modern era. And now, 12 months later, that same driver walks into that same racetrack, fighting for his playoff life. 3 points. That's all that separates SVG from falling out of a chase position entirely. He's 17th in the standings. Ryan Preece is in 16th, the last spot inside the cut, with SVG just 3 points behind him. So here's the question that nobody is asking properly. The obvious story is win or go home. But the real story is something much more specific. Because after Sonoma, there are 0 road courses left on the entire 2026 schedule. Not one. SVG is about to run out of the only track type where he's been essentially unbeatable. And what comes after this weekend is 8 straight races on ovals and superspeedways. The exact tracks where SVG is still building and learning. This weekend isn't just a points problem. It's the last time all season he gets to fight on his own ground. Welcome back to Freedom Line News, the channel where we don't just chase the drama, we break down what really matters. If you're new, hit subscribe. This community is growing every week. Let's get into it. To understand why this moment cuts so deep, you have to understand just how completely SVG has owned Sonoma. Because it goes beyond just winning. Last year's Cup race result, 97 laps led out of 110, set the all-time record for laps led at this circuit, breaking a mark that Jeff Gordon had held since 2004. That's the Jeff Gordon standard, broken. SVG didn't just win at Sonoma. He lapped the field strategy, dominated every stage, and made one of the most technical road courses on the schedule look like his personal test track. He also has 2 wins in 3 total National Series starts at Sonoma, including a victory in the O'Reilly Series in 2024. And this weekend, in another double-duty appearance, he runs the O'Reilly Series race on Saturday before the Cup race on Sunday, giving him extra laps to dial in his setup before the main event. On paper, this is the most prepared any driver could possibly be coming into a single race. On paper, this weekend should be his. But this isn't last year. And the math of how SVG arrived at this moment is worth understanding, because it tells you exactly why the pressure is so intense. Coming into San Diego, he had held a provisional chase position after each of the previous 5 consecutive races. He was building momentum, staying clean, accumulating points. Then the lap 32 restart crash at Coronado, caused by another driver locking brakes and sliding into him, sent SVG into the wall and ended his day in 38th place. Season worst. That single race cost him 15 points to the cut line and dropped him 3 spots in the standings, from 12th to 17th. In one afternoon, everything he'd built over the previous 5 weeks got largely undone through no fault of his own. That is why he was filthy. That is why he drove straight back to the garage without a word, because he could see exactly what it meant for the races that come after Sonoma. And here's the angle that takes this from a simple points story to something much more significant. Sonoma is the last road course on the 2026 Cup Series schedule. After the checkered flag drops here on Sunday, SVG does not get another road course for the rest of the regular season. Not one. Chicagoland is next, a 1.5-mile oval. Then New Hampshire, an oval. Pocono, an oval. Indianapolis, an oval. The regular season runs out after 8 more races, every single one of them on a track type that is not SVG's speciality. His oval results in 2026 have genuinely improved from his rookie year. He's been running inside the top 10 more consistently, building setup knowledge with his trackhouse team, learning the nuances of each oval track. But improved and elite are 2 different things. On road courses, SVG runs inside the top 5 for nearly 80% of all laps and inside the top 10 for 90%. Those numbers don't exist on ovals. Not yet. So the question isn't simply whether SVG can win this weekend. The question is what happens to a driver who just spent 5 straight weeks climbing back toward the cut line. when the schedule removes his single biggest advantage and replaces it with 8 consecutive races on terrain he's still mastering. There's one more layer that most people covering this story are getting wrong. Because of the 2026 chase format, a win at Sonoma is not an automatic playoff berth. In previous seasons, wins locked drivers into the postseason regardless of their points standing. That rule has changed. In 2026, a race win is worth 55 points, plus any stage points earned. A massive swing that would almost certainly push SVG above the cut line. But it is not a guaranteed golden ticket. The standings still matter. If SVG wins on Sunday, he needs the numbers to work out, which they almost certainly would given how far 55 points would move him. But it means stage points this weekend matter as much as the win itself. He needs to be aggressive early, score stage points, and then convert the race win. It cannot be a conservative, tire-saving, patient drive to the end kind of day. He needs maximum points from every single lap. So here's how to watch this race, and what the key moments are. Watch SVG on the opening laps. Does he immediately show the dominant pace he had last year, or does the pressure of the situation affect his rhythm? Watch the stage breaks, because unlike a normal race, the stage points could be decisive for his championship standing regardless of the final result. Watch Ryan Preece, the driver currently in the last playoff position, just 3 points ahead of SVG, because where Preece finishes relative to SVG will tell you almost everything about how the standings shift. And watch the restarts. San Diego showed how quickly one moment can flip SVG's entire day. Sonoma is cleaner than a street course, but it still has tight corners and contact zones where chaos lives. The honest bottom line is this. Shane Van Gisbergen is the most dominant road course driver in modern NASCAR history. He is the defending Sonoma winner by a record margin. He has double-duty laps on Saturday to fine-tune his car. And he arrives here with the clearest motivation of his career. Every factor that exists points toward him winning. But NASCAR has a habit of not caring about factors. If it goes wrong, the road courses are gone, the ovals are coming, and a second consecutive postseason, which looked almost certain 2 months ago, suddenly becomes genuinely uncertain. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think SVG wins Sonoma and makes the playoffs look comfortable? Or does the pressure of the situation finally catch up with him? And if he misses the playoffs after leading 97 laps here last year, would that be the most brutal missed opportunity in recent NASCAR history? Drop it in the comments. Hit like and subscribe to Freedom Line News, where we cover every NASCAR story with the detail it deserves. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.